I'm always pleased to be able to view and interview uh, anybody in the community who is doing great things, particularly a young person. So I'm so happy today to be able to bring to you a young lady who is doing just such great things in the community, very involved on a job, very involved in her sorority, very involved in other organizations. So I happened to look at Dr. Ansley Booker and happened to kind of view some of the things in which she is involved. And I said, hmm, maybe the community needs to be more exposed to her, some biographical information about her, and many of the great things that she is doing in the community. So I'm very happy to interview today Dr. Ansley Booker, who wears a lot of hats. And we're going to talk about as many of because we don't have time to talk about all the hats that she wears, but we're going to squeeze as many in as possible. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Habersham, and I'm just so happy, as I said, to be interviewing Dr. Booker. First thing I want to ask you, how long have you been Dr. Booker?
Good afternoon. Oh goodness, look, it hasn't been that long. So I actually defended my dissertation in November of 2018. So that was like 5 years ago. And then I graduated the following spring. So I've been Dr. Booker conferred since May of 2019.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Well, thank you so very much. It never gets old hearing that. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I know. Congratulations. Uh, so let's just talk a little bit about you biographically,
Okay.
where you're from, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. So yes, so I'm originally from Edenton, Georgia, and everybody knows that Alice Walker put Edenton, Georgia on the map with The Color Purple, and we'll be seeing that movie coming out later this year. And so I always tell people Edenton is the home of Alice Walker and Ansley Booker, right? And so and Rock Eagle too, because most people know about Rock Eagle. They know about Lake Sinclair, Lake Oconee, and fishing, and that wildlife area, recreational sports. But they also probably know about Vincent Haddock. He is a gold medalist skeet shooter, and he's also from Edenton, as well as the author Joel Chandler Harris. So we've got quite a rich history going a little bit north there in Edenton. Most people also pass through Edenton on their way to Athens. So they don't know either one of those routes, 4-H or the authors there. There's some great people there. Wonderful time there.
That's outstanding. Well,
Yes.
you come from solid roots.
Solid
So,
roots, yes.
yeah, yeah. So just move on through your educational
Okay.
endeavors from there.
Oh goodness, this sounds like a little bit of a job interview here, but I'm happy to share. Very proud alum of three great schools in the state of Georgia. So I'll start with my bachelor's degree. So I have a bachelor's degree in biology, minor in chemistry. So I was a STEM student, so science, technology, engineering, math. And then I received a master's degree from the University of Georgia. And there I also have certifications in clinical trials, regulatory affairs. And my master's degree is actually in pharmacy, believe it or not. And then after that, I completed my doctoral degree in higher education leadership from Mercer University. So I've been all around the state.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. First of all, I'm going to begin with your community involvement, and then
Okay.
we'll get into your job. I interviewed Ken, and I know he's your friend, Ken
Yes.
Blair,
Mhm.
and I'm just so proud that we have young because I used to kind of worry about somebody who's going to take the reins. Those of us who got all this gray hair need to realize,
That's just wisdom, just a sprinkle
yeah,
of
yeah,
wisdom there.
yeah, but we need to help and to support younger people.
Yes. That's
I'm
awesome.
always pleased and interested and enthused
Mm-hmm.
about doing that, and you and Ken are two of the young people in the community that have got the training, the expertise, the right kind of attitude, the right kind of involvement. So talk a little bit about your community involvement and why you do that.
Thank you. That's such a pleasure that you're able to recognize that in us, and the mentorship and the leadership and the guidance that you have been providing for years is outstanding. So I also want to give kudos to you, because I do think it takes that mentorship, that leadership, that guidance from people that have been here, have done it before, so that we can continue to build that legacy and create that impact that we want to see in our communities, right? So thank you for that, first and foremost. But for me, I've been involved in several civic organizations, several community-based organizations and nonprofits from quite some time. So I've been in Macon since 2010. So been here a little bit over 13 years. And so when we first discussed this particular interview, we were talking about CWN. So currently I serve as the president of the Career Women's Network here in Macon, Georgia. I'm also a part of Storytellers Macon, where I work as a community liaison. So if you've ever been to Grant's Lounge, or you've ever been to the Grand Opera House, or some of our other locations, the Douglas Theater around town, you've seen our presentations, you know that with that particular organization, we really like to uplift the community, and we would like to hear stories from untold voices or unheard voices to really talk about some of the things that are happening here in Middle Georgia. So I usually help to curate some of those stories and then bring on our potential storytellers. I'm also a part of, as you already mentioned, a sorority. So I've been a part of my sorority now for over 16 years. And so that is the Macon alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. In this particular capacity in Macon and the alumni chapter, I serve as the social action committee chair slash political awareness. So I do a lot of advocacy for voter engagement, voter turnout, civic engagement, trying to help, as you stated earlier, recruit and empower other individuals to run for public office there with some of our initiatives. And we have several. Those are just some of the things we've done recently. I also am part of the Urban CEO Board. I know this list is going on and on. And so with that, we're under the direction of Dr. Pastor Dominique Johnson. And so we talk with young entrepreneurs here in our communities. We take them through a leadership academy. And the goal is if they already don't have a business, is to really help start and empower individuals through our community through uplift and through social economic improvements there. I also serve with the Central Georgia Empowerment Fund, where we're under in conjunction with the Community Foundation, and we serve there to help not only build our community by helping others to see philanthropy as a necessary avenue for growth and for impact in our community, but we also give out grants to individual nonprofits that are Black-led and Black-serving. So that is another major opportunity there. And then I also recently joined the Macon, Georgia chapter of the Links recently in this June. So I'm really just getting my feet wet in that particular organization, really starting to serve on some of our community enhancement boards. And so I'm really looking forward to empowering and really inspiring more individuals there. And then I also serve on the Tubman board. So the Tubman board, which is the Tubman African American Museum here in Macon, Georgia, one of the largest of its size and scale in southeastern Georgia. So I'm there with them, working with membership, working with the 40th anniversary celebration that we had a few years back, and other variety of capacities in that particular seat there. And then I also just recently got off a call with the ad hoc bicentennial committee, working on the bicentennial events here in the city. Also a board member, previous volunteer, previous professor with Real Impact Incorporated, which we all know that services 3rd through 8th grade girls and trying to get them engaged in STEM. And then the last thing that I'll mention would be the Junior League of Macon. So I've been with the Junior League now for a few years and currently serving as the nominating chair. And so, you know, a lot of our focus is on literacy here in Macon, making sure that we get that rate up as quickly as possible.
Wow.
Yeah, quite busy. A lot of time management.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I want every young person, every aspiring entrepreneur, every professional, young professional in this community to be cognizant and aware of what Dr. Booker is doing. And if she can serve on 13 boards, I'm just...
It was only 10, right? Let me go back and count. Let me see.
If she can serve on let's say, double-digit boards.
Double digits, yeah.
Yeah, in our community, then I think that helps to emphasize the importance of community involvement as it relates to professional growth. And
Yes.
then the thing that's interesting and the thing that bothers me very frankly is that too often, many of us, not necessarily just young people, but maybe some of our wiser people, as you said, you know, tend to work on things from the outside in when they need to work from the inside out.
Okay.
In other words, what we are saying, and I think you agree, is that if in fact you want to improve the community, then you have to associate with and involve yourself in projects, programs, and initiatives that are going to make a difference. And you just mentioned several part of your job you're very, very versed in and engaged in DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Talk a little bit about what that means and the kind of importance that it has in our community.
Yes. So, if you just think about diversity and inclusion, I think those things, equity, I think when you pull all those words together, belonging, justice, all those words really, really help a community to be empowered. You also see how equity and resources are important to everyone. So a lot of things that I've seen in the community, not necessarily connected to me directly, we've seen a lot of celebration around the diversity and inclusiveness, belongingness in our community. And of course, we always have opportunities and to grow and to continue to expand. But some of the things that I've seen that have been very successful with the Tubman Museum having the Pan-African Festival in April of each year, you see the diaspora being represented through dance, music, song, and food. You have the celebration with the Omogi Mounds here in Macon as well, learn about Indigenous peoples and First Peoples culture and heritage that happens in September. You've also seen the rich celebration of music culture here, from everything from Otis Redding to Little Richard, all the way to the Allman Brothers. You've seen improvements in our community organizations through various communities in the city of Macon Bibb. You see Macon Pride that happens each year that celebrates those individuals that might be part of the LGBTQ plus community. Then you also see things like the Beloved Community Symposium, where you're engaging with various religious organizations to highlight and showcase the history of Macon Bibb County, as well as how religion intersects with our city and our town, and how people interact and grow in those ways, in those capacities. Then you also see various shows and presentations with the film festival that we saw at the Douglas Theater. We all even had a conversation around the groundwater project and the rainwater project in 2019 that talked about community engagement and involvement around diversity and inclusion. So I think there's a number of different opportunities that happen in and throughout our city, from the Hispanic Heritage Festival, and the list goes on. And I think those things are very great, very empowering. It gives that sense of belonging, that sense of community. And of course, there's more and more things that can be added to our calendar throughout each year, the MLK parade, Juneteenth parade that happened last year. And so I just wanted to celebrate those things and show that we are doing diversity and inclusion through events and through talking points, through courageous conversations like On the Table, Macon, through various opportunities like that to show that diversity and inclusion is a great part of the conversation and a celebrated part of the conversation.
And it plays a major role in the
Yes.
development and improvement of our community. Well
Yes.
said, Dr. Booker.
And then the most important thing I think we shared there, that particular meeting, was an opportunity, as you mentioned earlier, for mentorship. If there's been someone in public office and maybe they are stepping down from their post or they're retiring, or whatever the reason may be, their term has ended. We were having an opportunity for people that were on the potential call, or if they knew someone else that wanted to run for public office, to really bridge that gap there so that we could have some mentorship there, and even someone to take the opportunity to hand over the reins, as you mentioned earlier, so that we can continue to have successful civic engagement in our service area, and then also our community in our state.
Well, one thing, Dr. Booker, this is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Havisham, interviewing Dr. Ansley Booker, the lady of many hats. And that's the best way I can describe her right now. But one thing I want you to address, because I try to emphasize it, and I think that it needs to be more heavily emphasized and that's how politicians make policy and the role that policy plays in our lives. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Havisham, interviewing Dr. Ansley Booker. We'll be right back. Get ready, Central Georgia.
The 2023-2024 edition
of the Macon Middle Georgia Black Pages
is coming soon. Check your listing. Visit
MaconBlackPages.com
to check the status of your listing. If it needs to be updated or removed, please contact us. List your business.
We give all African American businesses a free listing.
Visit our website to submit your free business listing so that it will be listed in the directory
for the new
2023-2024 edition. Advertise your business in the Black Pages.
You cannot afford not to advertise.
So check your listing, list your business, and advertise with us.
Give us a call at 478-464-0074.
Stop by 590 DT Walton Senior Way in Macon.
Or you can go to our website, MaconBlackPages.com.
The 2023-2024 edition is coming soon.
We're back. And as I said, let me just say, sometimes when people are doing great things and are involved in the community and making a difference and are very conscientious about what's happening in the community and are very selfish, we don't thank them enough. So I'm going to just take, since this is my show, I'm going to take time to...
You take that personal privilege there.
Yeah, I'm going to take a personal privilege to thank Dr. Booker for all that she does, has done, and will be doing in our community. And we broke, when we took this break, we were talking about politics and policy. And if you live, I say in a democracy, but particularly a democracy, if you live in a community that has government, and if in fact you can play a role in who represents you in government, those individuals make policies that affect us. So if you would, Dr. Booker, just talk about that. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why your organization decided to do that.
Yes. So I would first like to say, of course, I'm not an elected official. So, I come from a research standpoint, a grassroots standpoint, and working with my particular office there with our committee. And so oftentimes what we see is people need more access to information, right? So you have to go back all the way to civics class. I think that was taught like in 9th grade, how the branches of government work, how they interact. And then if you haven't had the availability of having that course, just researching for yourself and talking to elected individuals so that you get a grasp on what are their day-to-day ins and outs, what are they actually responsible for, because you may think that a particular person that's on the county commissioner may be responsible for X, but actually their roles and responsibilities are these, right? So really working to get a clear understanding of that, and then also understanding how policies and procedures work, how a bill is brought to the floor, what does that look like, who sponsors it, actually learning how to read the bill and understanding that. And then I actually want to say the other biggest component of that is making sure that you are registered to vote and that you vote in every election, not just the larger elections or the presidential elections, that you're voting locally, state, and nationally there, and that you're voting of course, for ideals and principles and values that you think are near and dear to your heart. And so just being reminded of that. And then also making sure that you're including and helping others to make sure they have their voter registration and access, working there accordingly. But I do think I'd be remiss if I didn't say going and attending meetings of the particular council or meetings of the particular governmental official or elected official that you want to ask questions of and see what policies they're working on. I think it's very important because Oftentimes, if you don't see something you're like, most of these times these meetings are public, they're public forums, and they're open, so you can go take minutes, requesting an understanding of what actually is happening, and then you're able to dialogue with that particular person, and that's how you influence change, and especially with your vote, because your vote does matter. Oftentimes your vote is the ones that get people in office, or it helps remove people from office. So knowing that, and then I also think, of course, our organization is nonpartisan, so we don't endorse anyone of that particular nature, but just being aware of all the particular candidates, and yourself, if you are thinking about running, understanding all the steps that it takes for you to be an engaged and informed citizen, to prepare you for that particular office, are all very important. I think tips and trades for those positions.
That's so outstanding. So what other organization with which you are involved would you like to discuss? And of course, we need to save at least two minutes for your job and what you're doing at Mercer as it relates to DEI, because that's important to our community. And you could go into that first or second or whatever, but I do think that it needs to be mentioned so the community will understand what it means and how that can help, to grow and to improve our community.
Yeah, so I'll just do a quick run through of several things. I know I talk really fast, but as I mentioned earlier, the Urban Leadership Academy, or Urban CEO, and talking about the social economic impact and that we're trying to make through entrepreneurship and small business growth and management. I think that's very important, especially on this Monday where we're really focusing a lot on economic empowerment and improvement, to inspire individuals to become entrepreneurs, or to help them with resources and opportunities to manage their current businesses, right? So I think that's very important. Right now we're in cohort number 8, and then we're looking to make our 10-year mark in a few years here. So we actually have a really great project that we're partnering with the Douglas Theater on right after in February, to really acknowledge some of the expansion and growth and success we've had with our programs. And so we'll be highlighting the service hours, the economic impact we've had, and really the impact overall we've had in our community. So that'll be happening in February of 2024. Another great opportunity I've had is working, servicing, even teaching and volunteering with Real Impact Center Incorporated founder and CEO, Geneva West. So that has been such a joy, such a thrill, because we recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary at Wesleyan College, and had a great partnership with them going forward. And so we're really going to go forward and bounce back really strong post-COVID. And then we will have our Girls Will Be Women in STEM conference that'll be happening in March of 2024 as well. And that organization is near and dear to my heart, because I am a woman in STEM, underrepresented in STEM based upon how I identify ethnically. And so that's really amazing to provide opportunities where young women 3rd through 8th grade to engage in STEAM or STREAM-based curriculum opportunities, really build that science identity and that science awareness. Because if you weren't aware, a lot of the growth in not only the state of Georgia, but outside of the nation, is really going to be focused on cybersecurity, IT, information technology, AI is really big now. And those jobs are going to, engineering, those jobs are going to, healthcare, those jobs are going to continue to trend upward. And a lot of times with those jobs, women in those jobs make much more money based upon their role and responsibilities and degrees. And so we're really highlighting the opportunity not only for you to build generational wealth, but also to really close that gender gap in terms of money there with the degrees that you can have. So we're always trying to build that bridge and to really help students get those extracurricular activities outside the classroom and really expand their knowledge and area of expertise and growth, especially in science, technology, robotics, engineering, arts, and mathematics. We've had several students to be successful now. They've gone on to Fort Valley, UGA, and the list goes on and on, Georgia Southern, and they've received their degrees in engineering, robotics, they've become doctors, healthcare sciences. And so you just want to continue that legacy and to make that connection with our students right here in our own backyard. So I just want to highlight that as well. And then also we've talked about me being a Delta. one of the things that I also wanted to mention is Storytellers Making. So Storytellers Making has been a great avenue and a great opportunity for people to get on stage who would not normally be on stage and be able to amplify their voice and tell their stories. So if you ever have the opportunity to come and witness one of our presentations, our stories, really, it's not a presentation. I'm thinking about work now, presentation, but they're really stories. So we're letting people tell their lived experience. So each second Tuesday, we're at Grant's Lounge, downtown Macon, and we have a featured storyteller or either two featured storytellers, and we're really allowing the space and opportunity to tell their story based upon the theme. So in December, we're going to be talking about the bicentennial, 200 years here in Macon. I do believe, Mr. Haversham, you may be one of our featured speakers. So that's another opportunity to come and hear him and hear the story of Macon and the history. But each month is a different theme. And so we're super excited to share the stage there and have the opportunity. We even won an award, the Macon Preservation Award, being able to preserve oral storytelling. And so the team there is great. I won't name everybody because I don't want to forget anybody. But we had a very successful year already because we also teamed up with the Goodwill Center with their particular gala they had recently. And we recorded the stories of several of the chefs there. And so that is out on the recording. It's great. I was able to work with Chef Scotty Johnson to tell his story. He's an author, military vet. So really, really being cool. And then lastly, CWN, awesome organization. We've been really celebrating women in Macon-Bibb County since the 1980s. We've had our Women of Achievement event that's coming up in March of 2024. We're waiting to see who that awardee would be, but we've had people like Justice Colvin to win before, Lynn Farmer, Lee Lauder, Katrina Spooner. So amazing women here in our area. So we just look forward to celebrating that. And then the most successful thing that I think I want to count for our impact here in Middle Georgia is this year we were able to give out $20,000 in scholarships. I know, right? $20,000 in scholarships at the beginning of the year to women who were looking to go back to school and get their bachelor's degree. So we're doing a lot of great, amazing things. We have that Women of Achievement event at the Methodist Home in March of 2024. So if there's any opportunity you want to reach out, connect, learn ways to improve our community, just inspire individuals, mentor, give back with your time, talent, and treasure. I always look for ways to engage in that way.
Well, you are giving your time, talent, and a truckload of treasure to our community, and we're so appreciative. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Haversham, having interviewed the phenom, Dr. Ansley Booker, as evidence about all of her community involvement. And again, I thank you. I really appreciate you. And I know there are several others, but we want you to be a model, which you are, and we want other young people in our community to follow that mode and that path in an effort to make our future even brighter. Thank you so much for all you do, and keep up the good work. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Thank you, Dr. Booker. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com